Hey guys, it's Wren.
And Lyd.
And we're back to finish out James's route with his recently released epilogue.
Hey.
A lesson in romance. Let's get started.
Who's this Mika bitch? There's only laundry.
Boop.
Imagine, if you will, you live in a gorgeous mansion with the man of your dreams. You can do anything you have ever wanted, and there was nothing in the world that could hold you back. Except death. Well, that was my life.
Lucky you.
I was the granddaughter of a CEO, and had somehow earned his estate upon his death. The man of my dreams just happened to be waiting for me in the lobby of his mansion as I moved in. Weak, bloody, and vulnerable, just like how I like him. Mind you, he was mortally wounded, and he turned out... Wait! What? Wait, mortally wounded means they die.
Yes.
He's not dead.
Because we gave him energy.
Uh,
They were bleeding out on our floor.
yeah, but they're demons. I thought they'd be fine.
With energy.
Mind you, he was mortally wounded, and he turned out to be a demon. But that was beside the point. It doesn't matter. The man of my dreams, James, was smart, kind, caring, and very capable of taking care of not only me, but his 4 younger brothers. The 5 of them lived with me for a short while, making the house lively as ever. However, I only needed James at my side, and soon enough the younger 4 brothers left us to our own devices, wanting to start lives of their own. Living with James like a dream come true. He always cooked breakfast and helped me keep the house clean, and during his free time he tended the garden. I always wanted to fuck a gardener. There were often times when he and I would eat in...
Jesus Christ.
What? I keep thinking of there's a scene...
In Gilmore Girls?
Yep, I've always wanted an affair with a gardener.
Yeah.
There were often times when he and I would eat in the gazebo outside, enjoying the sun and fresh air. Work-wise, James had taken the position of CEO at my grandfather's toy company and helped expand it to new heights. He did his very best to make it the best company it could be and wound up raising more money for charity than any other company on the planet. Needless to say, I was very proud of him and was happy to know that my grandfather's company was in good hands. I was even more happy to call him mine. James and I had lived in a dream-like romance for a year and a half. A thought of marriage often crossed my mind, but I left it in the hands of fate. If James was going to propose to me, then he would do it when he was ready.
So this takes place before the epilogue inside the game?
I guess so. Interesting. Nevertheless, the conversations we would have were interesting, to say the least.
Oh boy.
I'll be the judge of that. Oh, this is a new sprite. Oh, this is a new sprite.
Yeah, the artist improved and changed.
He's not wearing his Warbler uniform anymore. He finally grew out of his Gleek phase. One day I found him lounging in the library, lost in a familiar book. With a smirk, I crept inside and peered over his shoulder at the chapter he was reading.
You really like that book, don't you, James?
Jumping in his seat, James snapped out of his train of thought and stared up at me in surprise, making me laugh and grip the chair to keep from falling onto my knees from the hilarity of it.
Love!
Good afternoon to you too, James. Enjoying that story?
I smiled playfully at James before taking the book out of his hands and looking at the cover. I was right.
Love and Romance, a study of intimacy.
Fucking nerd.
You nerd.
You've been reading that for a year and a half? How big is this book?
You're an incubus. And you're reading books on love and sex.
It's like, I gotta...
You are a nerd.
I gotta know how the humans do it. I gotta know. His fucking pout.
Here we go.
James cleared...
This might be the spice of life here.
Oh boy. James cleared his throat as he shook his head and relaxed in his chair, trying to calm down from the sudden surprised outburst.
You keep coming back to this book no matter how many others you read. Why?
It's an interesting commentary on romance. A writer falling in love with her manager and dealing with her own internal feelings is an interesting topic to read about.
Wait.
Okay.
It's not even an actual study on... It's just a romance novel. Oh my god.
Is this like one of those manga series where like there's the writer and she writes romance novels, but she's never had an actual relationship, so she doesn't know how to do it right. So her manager's like, hey, date someone and get some experience and then write your books. And then she ends up with the manager and just all lovey-dovey and woo. Because that's very common in manga.
Truly?
I handed the book back to James before walking around and sitting on the empty seat across from his. James nodded and placed the book down on the table between us while he crossed his legs.
Hiding something?
Remember, demons don't fully understand love.
Luna!
We may experience it,
Remember.
but we
Oh,
don't
that's
know it
him.
well
Shit.
enough to label it as such.
But you understand it, right?
Of course, but that doesn't mean that I shouldn't continue to read about it.
I guess you're right, but what does reading that book over and over do for your research on it?
James chuckled and leaned back in his chair.
That book in particular shows the balance between love and lust, which, by contrast, is an emotion demons understand completely.
Completely. I'm sure there are things even you don't understand if demons don't understand love.
Provoked by my statement, James raised an eyebrow with an almost amused grin.
Is that a challenge?
Oh my god. For a moment, I remember James' powerful personality. Okay, see, I don't... What are you talking about? Powerful personality.
Sure. Okay.
You keep telling yourself that, Laundry. This was a challenge of his intelligence, and such a dare would not remain undominated for long under his eye.
Christ.
It is not anything like the James I knew. As I mulled over the idea of in the following seconds of silence, I could only find myself entertained by the idea of him trying to prove himself to me. To that I smirked and lifted my chin a bit in a small taunting display.
And if it was...
The moment James smirked at me and licked his lips ever so slightly, it made me question everything in the form of loud screaming in my head.
Internal screaming!
What did I throw myself into? Still, my face remained unfazed, and I continued to stand my ground as James replied.
Then tell me, what could I possibly not know?
I stared at James for the longest time before settling into my seat, crossing my legs. Oh god, this was going to be a lesson in romance. And this was going to be the one where I was the teacher.
Alright then. Do you know what's the sexiest thing a person can do for another?
That's a bit
Oh yeah, I'm
specific.
scared. What is that?
I promise there's only one answer.
That was a lie. There was obviously more than one answer, but I hoped that he would draw the answer from our relationship rather than just form a generic answer. Either way, I would get him! James sat back and closed his eyes, thinking to himself and assembling his answer. As he opened his eyes, he smiled.
Make them feel cared for and cherished beyond anything else in the world.
His answer surprised me. I imagined him trying to weasel out of the answer with a gesture or specific action. As his words hit me, my cheeks burned a soft pink in agreement. It was rather sexy to think about. I kind of did... What? I'm sorry, my mind just, did not compute. At all.
I think he's referring to body worship.
Oh. Well, that makes me I thought he was just being cause I like you and shit. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I mean, that's cool, and that can, help this.
The line that's there right now is just the only clue we really have.
Oh, okay. The feeling of his hands along my body would make me feel like a goddess worthy enough to be ravished. The kisses on my skin would paint me in a glow of love and compassion. The way he held me always sent me to cloud 9. Okay, I get it now. 'Cause the way he phrased it just sounded like
a normal
romantic-
relationship.
Yeah, and I was like,
Yeah.
what the? I don't understand why you think that's so sexy, man. I see now. You're getting into your body worship kink. Interessante. He had won this round, had he really? I nodded, pursing my lips as his smirk grew a bit. He interlaced his fingers and placed them on his knee, awaiting my next question. It has become a game of trivia almost.
Sexy.
Would he know all of the answers? Yeah, nothing gets me hotter than Jeopardy. I pushed forward, now determined to prove I was right.
Okay, but
Oh
what
my
about
God.
sexy clothes?
What
Oh,
about them?
no.
What color clothes should a person wear to attract someone?
Another trick question. It was all a matter of opinion. It didn't take long for James to reply.
It depends on the person they wish to attract.
As James' eyes traveled up and down my form, I suddenly felt naked.
I personally would love to see you in black. Perhaps gold or red.
Damn it. He had won again. He's not even saying anything Laundry! You have low standards for sexiness. Oh my god. Damn it. He won again. But at least I knew what to wear if I ever wanted to just seduce him into bed. I shook my thoughts out and knuckled down on my determination. I would not be beaten to these weak-ass words. I uncrossed my legs and leaned over my knees, face as stone cold as a statue. James raised an amused eyebrow once again as I threw a volley of questions at him, hoping to throw him off.
Giving or receiving?
Giving.
Nightgowns or teddies?
Nothing at all.
Kitchen or shower?
Both.
You can't be in the kitchen and the shower. Oh my... James, you're not...
They can teleport. They can just go back and forth and back and forth.
Oh my god. Feeling crazy at the ideas forming in my head. The game of question and answer became one that heightened my libido in the most shameless of ways. Still, I would not give in. The questions became about our relationship more than just general romance and lust. The more he answered, the more I learned about him. I would have to use his responses to my advantage later. For now, the harvest for answers continued.
Sensual or rough?
Depends on how we feel.
Fast or slow?
Start slow, then get faster.
Handcuffs or blindfolds?
Both.
Oh, shit. That wasn't something they ever addressed?
Apparently, they don't communicate.
Why does nobody communicate? You know how relationships work, kiddies? You tell people, somebody goes, hey, do you like handcuffs or blindfolds? You say what you feel. You say either blindfolds, handcuffs, both, none of them. I'm not comfortable with that. Let's not do that. All right, kiddies? Cool.
You talk things out in relationships. Don't just keep everything bottled up.
Exactly. James instantly covered his mouth with his hand, the slip escaping his lips and making his true feelings known alongside the embarrassed blush covering his cheeks. As his answer rung in my ears, my entire face became beet red. What? James was into both handcuffs and blindfolds? What about other kinky things? Oh my god. Laundry, these are like the lowest tier of BDSM laundry. Oh, here we go. Now we're getting into cooler stuff.
Whips? Rods?
James shook his head. So he wasn't into any sort of violent play.
Thank God for that.
Being called master?
Silence. It made sense. Him liking the play on his dominance. This is the first time we have seen this actually in him.
BDSM?
That's literally what you've been talking about.
You've really, oh my, those are all aspects of BDSM laundry. Bondage and discipline. Dominance and submission. Self-masochism. Wait, yeah, sadism and masochism. Yeah. Yeah. Laundry. Jesus. You need to learn, girl. You need to do your research. James closed his eyes and sighed into his palm before it fell to his lap and he lowered his head. As he spoke, I could tell he was being frank with me, dissolving his shame as he was speaking to the one he loved.
It's not something demons do, but I enjoy learning about it, and...
Demons don't do
imagining
BDSM?
it.
I guess not.
Why not?
I guess in this world it's like a human cultural thing.
That's actually really fascinating. I want to know about demon sex.
Where did you learn about it?
James chuckled softly, shaking his head.
A novel I read a long time ago. It was a study on fictional romance and the publishing of erotica in the last 10 years. It wound up in the piles of books I read when we first came to the human world.
That explained it. However, I almost didn't expect it from James. Eric, maybe, but not James. Looking at him, I could tell James was trying to come to terms with releasing this information to me. While he was talking to the one he loved, he knew that the topic was a pretty big one to drop in the game we were previously playing. I didn't want to make him feel uncomfortable about it, so I spoke up again.
Are you interested in trying it?
For a moment, James didn't answer. When he did, I could tell he was being open about it, and I knew of his true feelings for it.
I would be lying if I said no.
So just say yes. James looked back up at me, his expression neutral and attempt to remain calm. I leaned back in my chair and closed my eyes. This game definitely taught me a lot of new things about James 1.5 years into our relationship. Would I pursue this new information and try it with him? That was up to me to decide later on. For now, though our game had ended, and it was unclear who had won between us, I had gotten my answers, but the last question threw both of us off. How would we determine the winner? I finally decided to stand up and walk over to James, letting him watch me as I sat on his lap, wrapping my arms around his neck and leaning my forehead against his.
Maybe you do know everything.
James finally relaxed and nuzzled my nose with his before kissing me softly.
Well, not everything.
Huh?
I still have a lot to learn about you.
Me?
James stared deep into my eyes, leaning back and removing his glasses. As his whiskey eyes began to grow a soft golden color, I gasped and he smiled playfully at me.
It's only fair that I ask you the same questions that you asked me. Don't you think?
I stared wide-eyed at James. Was he seriously going to ask me the same questions I asked him? James chuckled lowly.
What? Are you afraid now?
No.
Good. Because I don't intend to be gentle.
Fuck!
That's it. Fuck. Well, that was interesting.
That was very different from Sam's epilogue. Sam's epilogue was like, let's go dance in the fucking sky and get married. James is like, I like BDSM, we don't have that in the demon world. And I'm gonna pull off my Tumblr Dom face. I don't intend to be gentle. Yeah, we got that. Oh my god.
So what do you think?
I liked Sam's epilogue more because it was like actually something. I don't know. First of all, where the fuck are they talking about James' dominance from? We didn't see any of that shit in the first game unless we're talking about the moment he killed Malix, or when he threw Diana at the floor, or just him taking over the company. Like, this is entirely a side of James that I've never even seen.
Yeah, like, it was something canon that Michaela told us about outside of the game, but they don't show it at all.
Like, this is a
They
completely
told, not showed, until this epilogue came out.
This is a very different James than I recall literally just playing. I'm confused. I'm just confused. I mean, the art looks nice. That CG was drawn very well. I will say that. I may not be a dom fucker. That was a good CG.
Yeah. Fuck.
Fuck.
Alright, well.
So yeah, the lesson to learn in a lesson in romance is communicate with your partner so that you find out their kinks before you're 1.5 years into their relationship.
And don't worry about, like, saying things in a sexy way, like hinting at stuff or whatever. Just
say it.
Fucking say it.
Go through, like, go through a
This is real
list.
life, not TV.
Like,
just say it.
Like, go find like a list and just check off like, am I cool with this? Yeah. Am I cool with this? No. Am I cool with this? Consult me first. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I learned from this.
Alright, well, I guess we'll move along in the series. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.